Gabos. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I rock with you if you rock with me. And remember, subscribing is the vibe. Hit that subscribe button because your boy's on the road to 4K. We out here moving fast up here, man. Just being consistent like always. All right, yo, bro. So here's the news. Tua Tagovailoa, whatever, ain't playing the first round of the playoffs. Like, it's just not happening. The fact that Miami even made the playoffs with no starting quarterback is just going to be a fart in the win playoff game. I don't think anybody's going to watch this Buffalo game because they don't have a chance. I think they're starting their third. Who's the name of this quarterback, bro? The Dolphins is starting Skylar Thompson versus the Buffalo Bills on the road. Yeah, just give Buffalo a bye week. So the discussion is whether or not, like, what they're going to do with Tua, bro. I'm going to keep it a bean with you, bro. This dude is built like a 6-year-old boy. He just can't take NFL hits. Like, what more else do we need to see? This kid got 3 concussions in a 4-month time span. I beg your pardon? I've suffered 1 concussion in my life. This man suffered 3 in 5 months. For some strange reason, he doesn't know how to brace himself when he falls, so he only knows how to break his fall with his head. Those aren't good signs for an NFL starting quarterback. So we're going to get right into it, bro. We're going to see what Stephen A. has to say about Tua Tagovailoa, whatever, and what's going to happen round 1 of the playoffs.
Like McDaniel said on Wednesday, now Tua's been in concussion protocol since December 26th after suffering his 2nd documented concussion of the season the day before in a loss to the Green Bay Packers.
It's actually his 3rd.
Tua has not been cleared to resume any sort of football activities, and that because of that amount of time he's already missed, McDaniel is able to rule him out. The rookie, Skylar Thompson, will lead the Dolphins to Buffalo this weekend. Dan, I realize this is a loaded question, but is Tua the future at quarterback for Miami?
No, he's not.
Say that right now. No, he's not right now. You cannot say that unequivocally. And I hate saying that, Molly. I'm such a fan of Tua, on and off the field. You guys know I have championed Tua. But
Absolutely.
It's unfair to sit here
Is he wearing a suit jacket over a hoodie?
Part of this conversation goes back to college, right? Because coming out of college, it was the injury concern with the ankle and then the hip. And the hip was that big one. Remember the hip? And people were saying, like, you might get 7 to 10 years of an NFL playing career out of Tua Tagovailoa. And now in the NFL, it's this new injury history. It's the reality of, man, 2 documented concussions over a month, and everyone assumes that there's that 3rd one. And if you're an organization sitting there going, it's unfair to sit there and say, well, that's our guy because of those injuries. And that's the only reason, though. That's the only reason you sit there and have that conversation about Tua, because the reality is when Tua is on the field, and it's important to point this out to people, right? When Tua is on the field this year, that's the best offense in the NFL. It's the best offense in the NFL in yards per play. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're 2nd. Josh Allen and the Bills, they're 3rd. Tua led the NFL. This
is the problem I have with stats, bro. This is the problem that I have with stats. I ain't trying to hear none of this. We all know what's up. We all know the best offense in the league, regardless of yards, is the Kansas City Chiefs, bro. These guys put up points in a bundle. Tua is eating off the mere fact that he has Waddle and Tyreek Hill, 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL on one offense. Anybody could eat with those kind of weapons, bro. Like, Tua ain't nothing special. He ain't nothing we've never seen before. And it's crazy, too, because they're the number 1 offense in the NFL in terms of total yards. You know how many times he's missed Tyreek Hill deep? You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro.
He led the NFL in yards per attempt, yards per completion, touchdown percentage, passer rating. So you sit there and go, we found our guy. Like, this is our guy. We got the quarterback to go head-to-head with Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. But because of the injuries that have transpired over the course of these 2 or 3 months in this season, there's no way as an organization that you can unequivocally go into next year and go, we're good. And I said this on NFL Live yesterday. I'll be interested to see if the Dolphins, because it's hard to turn away from him also. Like, it's hard to turn away from a guy and just say, you're not in our plans at all because of all the things I just rattled off. And I'll be interested if the Dolphins sit there and go, this kid's really good. Like, he's a really, really good player, and I know we have the injury. How do we protect ourselves? And maybe go get Jimmy Garoppolo. And then you feel good. Now, they both have injury history, but at least you feel good about having 2 guys that are starting quarterbacks and you could win a ton of games with. But you can't sit there and say he's your unquestioned starter.
He's not. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it again. The only way to protect Tua is to play flag football with him, bro. You got to put flags around his hip and his waist because any type of contact, and this dude's on IR. He's too much of a liability. Too much. And he's all right. He's decent. He doesn't have the strongest arm I've ever seen. But it's just too you're risking too much when you know his concussion history, bro. This dude is trying to down the field. He can't survive a sack. That comes with the job, bro.
The future.
I'll take it a step further, Dan Orlovsky. I think his career is in jeopardy. I echo the sentiments of Christopher Mad Dog Russo yesterday. I think his career is in jeopardy. We don't want to point the finger of blame because certainly that brings into question people's intent, and nobody had malice intent when it came to Tua Tagovailoa. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not surmising, I'm not making an accusation that the Miami Dolphins in any way had malice intent. But there's no way in hell that when he was in that game against Buffalo and he got knocked down and he got up and he fell back down, that he should have been allowed to continue playing in that game.
They said he hurt his back, bro.
4 days later, he shouldn't have been allowed to play against Cincinnati.
Second
Because
concussion.
when you talk about concussion protocols and what have you, you know, it's not just about what the tests show, it's about what your eyes see too. That does play a role. And it's a judgment call by someone other than the athlete to decide whether or not that athlete should be allowed on the field. Now, usually it takes about 6 days. They had a game in 4. Right. And when you think about it, that's only 3 days with which to prepare for that 4th day. You played Sunday, then you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you played Thursday. There was not enough time before he was allowed onto that field against Cincinnati. He went out onto that field against
Wasn't
Cincinnati.
enough time to get your mind right.
We all know what happened. He was carried out in an ambulance, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Was saddled up, positioned so his body was immobile or what have you. We saw it was grave concern. Not certainly to the level of DeMar Hamlin, of course, but it was bad. He was carted off the field in an ambulance, okay? Then he comes back weeks later. The point is, we're continuously
Should have been out for the year.
that when it comes to concussions, it's that dicey. And considering that and the fact that he's been on the field, let's take the latest into consideration. He completed a game weeks ago. He played. Dolphins won. They were fine. And the Monday is when they noticed the concussion issues. It wouldn't happen on the field. It didn't happen Sunday while the game was played. It was after the game was over, after he took off his uniform, after he went home, came back the next day.
Tape with the coach.
And then they noticed concussion issues. This is serious stuff. And when you consider that, combined with his lack of size, how miniature he is compared to the
Built like a small fry.
that are on the field, smacking him with their bodies and putting that collision on him. And the fact that he's in this particular situation right now, this is serious. And I think that I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'll defer to them. But I remind you, the Buffalo game, 4 days later, the Cincinnati game. And then after that, after a game, a day after the game was over. Those are 3 separate lines of evidence provided to us about his concussion issues in the same season, in a span of 8 weeks. This ain't some situation where he had a concussion 2 years ago, and then after that was a concussion a year ago, and then you got something now. No, this is over the last 2.5 months. We have 3 separate occasions that Tua Tagovailoa has had a concussion issue that has derailed him and kept him and has endangered him. I'm sorry. This is a serious, serious issue. And I think this young brother's career is in jeopardy before it's even received it.
Like I said, bro, like, I don't know what you do with Tua. If I'm Miami, it is what it is. Like, I'll try to trade him for whatever I could get. But as far as making this kid my future, he's just not built like that, bro. 3 concussions in 1 season is unheard of. 2 in 4 days? 2 in 4 days. I'm giving you a 9-to-5 paycheck, bro. I can't have you on my salary cap. I just can't. And now they're about to go into the playoffs for the first time in a while, and then it's with their third-string quarterback, which is essentially a bye week for the Bills. The Bills are going to be practicing Madden plays on Miami. Nobody's going to care about that game because Miami does not have a chance. You only go as far as your quarterback takes you. And you're bringing in a third-string quarterback versus one of the teams, versus one of the second-best team in the NFL, in the AFC. I'm good, man. Let me know in the comment section what you think they're going to do with Tua. I think it's time to pack up this kid. This kid, I mean, listen, man, he's still young, and he still has a bright future ahead of him. I just don't think it's at the quarterback position. So, appreciate you guys for rocking out. I'll rock with you if you rock with me. Hit the subscribe button more because your boy's consistent. I upload every single day, and you know what the vibe is, man. Can't wait for the NFL playoffs to start this week, and I appreciate you guys, man. Mamba out.